Dana Brown made his weekly appearance on SportsTalk 790. He had some interesting things to say with the trade deadline less than 6 days to go. We'll talk about this on this special edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Jainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros. We hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talks Astros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Thank you for making us part of your daily routine. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go ahead and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. And Brett and I appreciate everybody that has become everydayers. Somebody listens to our podcast every day. Go and check out Michael Connor on the Locked On Astros postcast as well. He does a great job as well. And some other people do a great job is Sean and Brian Lima over at the Sports Talk 790. They have Dana Brown every week. Typically it's on Wednesdays, sometimes Fridays, but it's very key at this time of year. While Dana Brown can't say names, he can't say, well, I'm going after Tariq Skubal or something like that. He likes to come up and kind of give updates. And I don't know if he likes doing it, but he gets paid to do that. And it's part of the deal with the advertiser. So he does do it, and it's good for us to know where he is with less than 6 days to go. So the trade deadline is July 30th this year. It's not July 31st. It's not August 1st. It's July 30th. And actually, I'm having surgery that day. I just realized that. Oops. So I'll be out of action on the trade deadline day. Oh, well. But he had a lot to say about the trade deadline. He had a lot to say about Pedro Leon, Kyle Tucker, and some thoughts on Justin Verlander as well. But the Astros, as we can see, is the fact that they need a starter. Jake Bloss, I think the future is bright with him. I just don't know if he's ready yet. He has not gone past 82 pitches. He looked very hittable yesterday, and it just seemed like a lot was he doesn't know how to get big league hitters out. He's making a jump from Double-A to the major leagues. I know Lance McCullers did it. Certain pitchers can make that leap, but Jake Bloss probably needs a little bit more time in Triple-A. But at this point, the Astros, because they did for 2 straight off seasons, they did not make any acquisitions during offseason for a starting pitcher. Yes, granted, they had a full rotation. They had surplus, but you can never have enough starting pitchers. And now the Dana Brown, with a thin farm system as it is, he was brought in to rebuild this farm system. And now he's looking at this trade deadline like, okay, Jim Crane, I know you probably want me to bring in all these players, but you brought me in to build the farm system, not deplete it. And then don't forget about Josh Hader. Josh Hader cost you that second-round pick this year, so that further depleted the Astros farm system. So Dana Brown said, we are looking at all avenues, anything to make this club better. But more important, but the most important is a starter. If we add a bat, we'll try to do that too. But we have a chance to move the needle. That's our goal. We just got to get a deal done. We want to get a starter that can really impact our rotation and a bullpen piece. We're in the grind to make that happen. There, you can never have a Dana Brown interview without using the word grind. This episode is brought to you by the word grind. So this is something that we have seen a lot recently, but this is I think we've seen that he's not only looking at a starter, he's looking at a bullpen piece. I think that a lot of us, including myself, thought that the Astros bullpen is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. It's good enough. The deficit seems to be in the starting rotation right now, especially with half of with about 5 or 6 of your starters currently on IL. You're having to rely a lot on Spencer Arrighetti, who has shown that at times he could be a great pitcher. But Jake Bloss is not there right now. He needs a little bit more development time, and you don't really have any better options down in AAA. Because you know why? because if the Astros did, they would be up here and they would be making a start. Sean Dubin is a great kind of bridge guy. He's a mop-up guy, but I don't know if he's the guy that the Astros want to go to every fifth day. So he is what he is. Bring him in. Hopefully he gets them out, and we'll see where he is later. But he went on to say a third or a fourth starter would be great, but it's going to cost you. Garrett Crochet, if anybody had any thoughts about Garrett Crochet, that just went out the door. Because if he's talking about a third or fourth starter, he's saying that a third or fourth starter is going to be too much. It's going to be a lot. It's great, but it's going to cost you. And then he went on to say, it'll be nice to lock one down and put them in our mix. It'll be difficult to try to get a 1 or 2 in this market. So what he's saying is you have all these teams. Imagine Jon Snow, for those of y'all that have watched Game of Thrones. You have Jon Snow against the whole white army of White Walkers. That's basically what Dana Brown is doing. Jon Snow just has this one sword, and he's trying to fight all these White Walkers, and that's what Dana Brown has. He does not have the same level or number or quality of prospects that these other teams have. I guess I could say dudes, but the Orioles, all they have to do is just go like this, make it rain prospects, because they have prospects to spare. Will they give up Jackson Holiday? I don't think so, but they have some prospects that they can say, you know what? It's okay if we lose him. It's okay if we lose this, because we got these guys succeeding at the big league level. They're young. We're going to succeed for a while. And so the Orioles, they're going to get who they want. Tariq Skubal, I don't think the Tigers are going to trade him for anything less than half of the farm system. I doubt, I'm exaggerating there, but you got to give up your top prospects to get this guy, because this guy is somebody that can anchor your pitching staff for the next few years. So the Tigers, they're going to be patient, but I think the Astros have a chance to go out there. But he is saying what a lot of people are trying to tell you. Don't expect Garrett Crochet. If the Astros get him, great. You can celebrate. But there's a lot of teams with even the Yankees. I've heard reports that the Yankees are out on Crochet because they're asking for too much. So if the Yankees are out, they don't want to give up Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones is having an off season for the Yankees, but the Yankees don't even want to give him up because of his potential. So the Astros are trying to look for a number 3 or 4 guys. Right now, they're looking for somebody that can just give you 5 to 6 innings at this point from your 5th guy, because they don't have that right now. Bloss is only throwing 4 innings. He's averaged about 3.89 something innings. I didn't do the math, but that's about how many innings he's thrown in each one of his starts. So the Astros need to go out and make a trade, but they can't just go out there and just spend and just mortgage the whole farm system. But guess what? The other teams will. The Dodgers will do whatever it takes to go out and get whatever they need. So will I think the Phillies will do what it takes. I know a few years, Dana Brown's Braves, they went out and made these small, they traded for a whole bunch of baby pieces, the Adam Duvall's and what's his name? The one that hit a home run against us. I can't think of his name right now, but those pieces helped the Braves win the World Series that time. Yes, the Astros don't need a bunch of mini pieces. They have those mini pieces right here. They need a big piece. And so not necessarily a Justin Verlander. There's no Justin Verlander out there. The only Justin Verlander out there is the one that needs to come back from the IL. And so they're hoping for that ace to come back. They're hoping and I love the way other teams, reporters are saying the team is hopeful that this starter is coming back, but they're not going to rely on that. They're going to go ahead and go out there. James Paxton, if he clears waivers, the Astros should jump on him. Be like, hey, whatever it takes. We want to get you to be a Houston Astro. We want to win a World Series with you. Let's do it, James. What would it take? And so we're going to go ahead and continue this. What's his chances of adding a bat? What did he have to say about Kyle Tucker? So we'll talk about this in a second. This episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. The Astros need the right parts to win a World Series, right? Passion, drive, patience. That's the formula for winning championships. And it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicles and level up to peak performances. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Wherever you're into speed, power, style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You can find exactly what you're looking for right where you need it. Dana Brown wishes he can find that. Let me just go to ebaypictures.com or something. But keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply at eBay. Guaranteed fit only. And guys, let's go and talk about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is great because it's unlike I'm in a couple year-long fantasy baseball leagues. It is hard to keep track of. I need to set my lineup for today, but you're not playing all your friends. You're just playing random, not even random people. You're playing the numbers. Okay, what do we think is going to happen in today's game? How many home runs do we think that Yordan Alvarez is going to hit? How many strikeouts is Hunter Brown going to get? Are you going to take the over, the under? What's the pitching score? There's so many different aspects to PrizePicks that you can kind of bet on, and it's awesome. So why don't you download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. The code is LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make it your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. And at this point, I'm going to ask, go ahead and make your comments. If you were the GM for the Houston Astros, if you were Dana Brown, what would you want the Astros to do at the trade deadline, before the trade deadline? Just go and put in the chat, and I'll go ahead and put some of the responses at the end. I see somebody said that Neris is coming back. We'll see what's going on there. And Chico says, if you can't add a starter and get a bat, then get a bat just to try outscore everybody. Well, the Astros have got to score. It doesn't matter. Like we saw Eric Getty give up 4 runs the other day, which is not bad in 6 innings. But if the Astros would have scored 5 runs, then we wouldn't be talking about the Astros losing that game. So the Astros offense can be hot or cold. So you need to find somebody that's consistent. And John Heyman keeps on mentioning Isaac Paredes, somebody that can play first base for the Houston Astros for the rest of this year. That would put John Singleton on the bench. Aledmus Diaz, it's a feel-good story. He's back in Houston, but great. Unless he proves something otherwise, he's just the same as Jose Abreu. He's somebody that has not performed this year. The Oakland A's have DFA'd him. One of the worst teams in baseball who are playing good baseball right now. They DFA'd him so they can get younger and get some more exciting players in. So nothing against Aledmus Diaz, but until he all of a sudden gets hot, I don't think that he should be playing a lot. I do understand why Joe Espada started him in the first game, because that's what Joe Espada does. If you're coming back from either the IL or the I sucked IL, or I'm going back to the minor leagues to fix on things like Jose Abreu did, the first time you come back, you're going to be in the starting lineup. And that's what Joe Espada's thought is as a manager. Is he right? Is he wrong? I don't know. But that's just what he's thinking is. Let me give this guy a chance to show us right away what he can do. Somebody that haven't had a chance to show what he could do is Pedro Leon. Pedro Leon has spent 3 years in Sugarland. He has about like almost 390 something games with the Space Cowboys. Think about that. He's like Bill Durham, somebody that's played most of his minor league career and most of his career in the minors. He's 26 years old right now. And right now, let me tell you what he's doing in AAA this year. He's having one of his best seasons. He's batting 300 with the OPS of 903. He's got 19 home runs, 74 RBIs, 22 stolen bases. This guy is ready to be given a chance. Will he get that chance? I don't know. Is he better than Chas McCormick at this moment? Yes. Chas McCormick may be a better player. The history, the back of the baseball card probably says Chas McCormick is a better baseball player. But what we see with our eyes this year, Chas McCormick is not getting it done. He's wasting a roster spot right now. Greg Kessinger was wasting a roster spot. If you're not going to play Greg Kessinger, why was he up here? I mean, yes, in case Jeremy Pena got hurt, you had somebody play shortstop, yada, yada. But Mauricio Dubon can do that. And now you have Chas McCormick playing every once in a while. But Dana Brown has been kind of dancing around this, saying, well, his time will come. His time will come. He addressed it today. He said, I think there's a chance he could get some run depending on what happens at the deadline. I think there's a good chance he could get here. Meaning, if we trade Chas McCormick, Jake Myers, Dubon, Joey Loperfido, or if Kyle Tucker comes back, we can see Pedro Leon up, or at the trade deadline, if the Astros don't go out and get a bat, it may force the Astros to make the decision and go ahead and say, hey, Chas, we want you to go work on something. We believe in you. We think you're an awesome player, but we need you to go work on things and get everyday at-bats down in AAA. And we want you to come back ready to play in a postseason, should we make the postseason. But you're not getting the everyday at-bats here. We want you to get those everyday at-bats. And he can't do that in this lineup the way it's constructed right now. You got to find some playing time for Alvarez in the outfield. You have Dubon that needs to play. You have Loperfido that needs to play. I know it's a little bit easier with Tucker out right now, but what he's saying is that Leon can get the call up pretty soon, and we can see what he can do. Here's my prediction. He's not going to come up before the trade deadline, because I know I heard on the radio the other day, somebody was like, well, what if he comes up and he starts hitting, then other teams can say, oh, wow, this guy is major league ready. Let's go and trade for him. What if the opposite happens? You know how prospects normally come up. He's 26 years old. He's a little bit too old to be a prospect. But if he comes up and struggles in a couple games before the trade deadline, then the Astros are like, oh, hey, look what Pedro Leon has done at AAA. But look at what he's done at the major league. It's a small sample size. Well, he's not a proven major league hitter yet. And so I think that's why they're not bringing up Pedro Leon yet. Because right now there's a bunch of question marks surrounding him, but he hasn't put any doubts about what he could do at the big league level yet. I still think that Chas McCormick has some tradability. He's not going to get you an ace. He's not going to get you a number 3 starter. He may get you a reliever. So we'll see what happens. But definitely something that Dana Brown, that is in the back of Dana Brown's mind right now. So he also talked about Kyle Tucker. He said that he's starting light baseball activities on the field and hitting inside. He's dealing with soreness, and the deep bone bruise is real sore. He needs to be fully healthy, but he's making progress. So he's still dealing with soreness, and he's dealing with a deep bone bruise that's really sore. This is the most detailed explanation about what's going on that I think we've gotten from the Astros about what's going on with Kyle Tucker. He said, I'd be really disappointed if this was September, but we're optimistic that it'll be before September. So, when do you think Kyle Tucker will be back? Before September or September? I don't know. At this point, something that a lot of players come back from in a few days has kept him out for going on almost 2 months. So there is more to the story that we weren't told, or this was a major issue. And so the fact that we're talking about hopefully before we're optimistic before September, hopefully before September, because we want to get him ready for a postseason. That's what Dana Brown is saying. So hopefully this gives it a chance, but I don't know. I know that Justin Verlander is up to 47 pitches and is not feeling any sore, any pain afterwards. But at least we know where Dana Brown is looking for right now. He wants a starter and he wants a bullpen piece. And it would be nice if we can get a bat. You can't get all three, not with the Astros farm system the way it's constructed right now, unless you want to have no chances of competing in the future. I mean, if you keep on winning, going to ALCSs, you're going to continue to go ahead and pick at the very back of the draft, and if you continue signing players like Josh Hader, you're going to lose draft picks like that. So it's just a lot of stuff that comes into consideration. So let's go and look at some of the players before I end the podcast that the Astros could potentially go for. Garrett Crochet, he's the number one. I don't think the Astros are going to be able to afford him. He has years of control. Let's go ahead and talk about, I know if Willard's in this, he's going to say, but what about Luis Robert? I don't think the White Sox. I think that's the one guy, either A, they don't want to lose, or B, he's not having quite the same season, and they don't think they can get full value for him. Bo Bichette, I don't know if the Rays are really truly selling, because they have a good nucleus. So Eric Feedy is the guy that I know Brett keeps on mentioning. He has a $7.5 million salary. He is doing pretty good. He's pitched last year in the KBO, and he's doing actually that was before the 2023 season. So he's doing pretty good. He's got a 2.99 ERA. He's got a 1.13 WHIP, and he has a 3.52 FIP. So it should be it's not a number one guy, but it's a guy you could just put in there, eat some innings. Would it be a guy that pitches in playoffs for you? Who's healthy at that time? That's the question. Who's healthy? Then that would answer that question. So Feedy is a good chance. I know that John Heyman keeps on bringing up Paredes. Brent Rooker is a guy that I know a lot of Astros fans would like to go get, but he's eligible. He's arbitration eligible through 2027, but I don't know if the A's I think that's one guy they maybe build around. Zach Eflin is the guy with the Rays. He's got a big contract, $18 million. He's not having the best year. He has a 1.14 ERA, a 1.17 WHIP. He's not a strikeout pitcher, but he is a guy that can go out there and pitch some innings for you. He can return to his dominance that he's done the past few years, but that might be a number one type of guy. I think the Rays, if they decide to sell, are probably be looking for one stuff. So let's look at Kyle Finnegan. He's a guy, we already saw them trade Hunter Harvey. So Kyle Finnegan is probably on the way out. He is a closer. He's having a pretty good season this year after having a terrible season last year. He was still the closer, but his ERA was terrible last year. Randy Rosarina is, I know, is linked to the Yankees. No, the Dodgers are linked to Rosarina. Jameson Taillon is another name that was brought up for the Houston Astros. He's making $18 million in 2025 and 2026. So this is a guy that you can have past the season. He's not a number one guy. He in the last 7 starts, he does have a 2.68 ERA, 0.94 WHIP, and he's looking pretty good. He's 32 years old. The price tag is about what market value would be for a pitcher like him. So Talion is another guy. I think Bassett depends on if the Blue Jays sell. I still don't know what the Blue Jays decide to do. If they decide to trade Vladimir Guerrero, then I think they decide to trade. But just looking at a few people here on this list. So Tyler Anderson is a guy that I would watch out for. He fits what I think the Astros are kind of looking for, somebody that is left-handed to kind of alternate with Framber Valdez out there. And you can maybe trade for him. And I think that, Cal Quantrill is another guy that we've talked about before. There's a whole bunch of other names out there. Justin Steele, if the Cubs decide to sell, but I think the Cubs could decide to build around him. So those are some of the names that are out there. There's some other names out there. I don't think the Diamondbacks are selling. So Christian Walker, he's not out, and Alonso is definitely not going to be traded. So it just depends on what the Astros want to do and what they're prioritizing. Number one goal should be starter. They can't survive, much less the playoffs. They can't survive the rest of the season if they don't go out and get a pitcher. It would be nice to get a reliever. It would be nice to get another at bats. So what's your question? They should look at Rays, Yandy Diaz, Randy. Yeah, I think it's going to take more than Chaz and Jake Myers to get a Rosarina. It's going to take some prospects, but I think Jake Myers is a good start to the package, but it's going to take a lot of stuff there. So if Dana Brown had a trade for Vlad Jr., but the difference maker was Loperfido, would you do it? Loperfido strikes out a lot. He's going to strike out a lot until he figures out big league pitching. And he did that in the minor leagues. So would the Astros trade Loperfido at this point? Yes. I think Melton is probably their answer for the outfield. And I think that if they believe in Leon, then he can replace Loperfido. Is that the right answer? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think that I know some of y'all are talking about that guy that the Astros will never bring in. They will never bring in that guy. There are some other options. I don't know if what's his name, Ty France cleared waivers. If he cleared waivers, then he's a free agent. Any team can sign him. Once James Paxton becomes a free agent, any team can go ahead and sign him. I have not seen if that happens. If he's cleared waivers or been traded, just let me know in the chat. But those are some other options. But so there's just so many different options out there. So he has less than 6 days to make a decision. And, Jim Crane's kind of on the text him. So what are we doing? What are we doing? And to quote Drain McClain, what are we doing today to be a champion? That was bad, Drain McClain. But basically, Dana Brown was brought in to just do what it takes to win. And it may not be big pieces. It may not be this big, sexy trade that you like. It may be some small pieces like the Braves did in 2019 or whenever that was. The Braves won the World Series, 2021, I think it was actually. But we may see some small moves, and the small moves may end up paying off better than if the Astros went out and got a Randy Johnson-like player. So we'll have to see. All we can hope for is that Dana Brown has an idea, he executes that idea, and he finds a trade partner that's willing to work with him. You may have to trade somebody like Jake Myers. And I see a lot of y'all talking about that Jake Myers is untradeable. Why is he untradeable? Yes, he's having a career year, but he's still batting, 217? His OPS is 700. Yes, that's pretty good for what we've had in the past. But if a team wants him, I don't think that would be the deal breaker. I think the deal breaker would be some other names. So Dana Brown has a tough task ahead of him. He's got to make this team a little bit better. This team, and I think he said it, he's got to make the needle move. The Rangers are getting better. The Mariners are dropping a little bit. So we'll see what happens. But he's got to make that needle move. He's got to get the Astros a little bit of breathing room so they don't have to worry about, if we win, if we lose, then the Mariners leapfrog us or the Rangers leapfrog us. You've got to get a comfortable lead. So, guys, enjoy today's Astros game, and thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your daily routine. Make sure you subscribe to us. Make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast, and we'll see you a little bit later tonight, hopefully talking about the Astros winning game, and go Astros.